This week, a suspect pleads guilty to the 2015 murder of the rapper Chinks. Plus,
if you see something, say something, do something, and they did that.
A massive bodega bust in the Bronx. And thieves on mopeds are targeting restaurant customers across the city. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. Here are the crimes across the 5 boroughs. We begin in downtown Brooklyn, where 3 people were shot at the intersection of Flatbush Avenue and Fulton Street.
Brooklyn, 3 people were shot on Flatbush Avenue. This happened overnight. It's unclear if those victims were the intended targets or just random victims of violence. Good day's Briella Tomasetti joins us now from downtown Brooklyn with the very latest on this investigation. Briella, what are you hearing?
Yeah, Dan, good morning to you. So people we spoke with say that they are not surprised by this violence. They say the area, or they claim that the area is known to be dangerous at night. The bullet holes that remain piercing through the windows of this McDonald's behind me seem to be a visual reminder of that. Gun violence continues to plague the 5 boroughs this summer, the latest shooting leaving 3 people wounded in downtown Brooklyn. Police say it happened at the intersection of Flatbush Avenue and Fulton Street just after midnight. A gunman opened fire, grazing a 41-year-old woman in the neck who refused medical attention. A 44-year-old man was shot in the right hand, and a 33-year-old man was hit in the right thigh. Both were taken to local hospitals where they're listed in stable condition. Investigators say the suspect ran off in an unknown direction.
We never expected to see this. We usually take a walk after the movie, and we just saw all these cars over here. And
several rounds of gunfire pierced through a McDonald's window as cops searched around inside. Outside, evidence markers lined the street, and a pair of flip-flops sat on the pavement surrounded by crime scene tape. Late-night patrons looking to grab a quick bite were instead greeted by an active shooting investigation.
I come here usually every few days, and it's always a lot of stuff going on here.
According to the NYPD's latest crime statistics, shooting incidents year to date are down from 7 to 2 by more than 71%. Shooting victims, in the meantime, have dropped from 6 to 1, not including this incident. That's a decrease of around 83%. But people who frequent the neighborhood perceive those numbers much differently.
This is very alarming.
I don't know, it's out of control, out of control. It's not only here, it's everywhere. And I don't know what we're gonna do.
Yeah, another close look at those bullet holes. It's unclear at this point if the gunman was aiming for someone inside that McDonald's or possibly someone out here on the street. That, of course, is still under investigation. What we do know, though, for certain is everybody is expected to recover. And by the way, the McDonald's back open for business this morning.
We now go to the Throgs Neck section in the Bronx, where over $1 million of illegal drugs, including marijuana and magic mushrooms, were seized during a raid on a bodega.
The organization made a huge drug bust in the Bronx, seizing over $1 million in weed and magic mushrooms, and it was all found in a bodega. Good day's Briella Tomasetti is live outside the store in Throgs Neck. Briella, what do you know?
Yeah, Dan, good morning to you. So small seizures happen on a regular basis, right? We see those illegal smoke shops pretty much on every corner here in the city. But the sheriff's office says this was a much bigger bust, noted by the heavy police presence here this morning. Police with long guns, might I add. Inside this bodega, authorities found a back room with thousands of dollars worth of magic mushrooms and cannabis flavors like fruit cereal and unicorn, which are typically sold to underage kids. Bodegas are the cornerstones of many New York City communities, but this one was selling a whole lot more than food, coffee, and over-the-counter items. Authorities allege Family Deli, located at the intersection of East Tremont and Sampson Avenues, dished out illegal pot, edibles, pre-rolls, THC vapes, magic mushrooms, and colorful packaging marketed toward children. Mayor Adams was on scene as it was raided last night.
As we have always asked the community to reach out to us and let us know if you see something, say something, do something, and they did that.
Members of the New York City Sheriff's Office went in to do an inspection, walked out with $1 million worth of illegal drugs, and made 2 arrests.
They found this door.
The massive stash was hidden in a back storage room along with a tent, a light, and heaters used to grow cannabis flower on site.
All of these products are unregulated, unlicensed. This location is unlicensed. They should not have any of this product here.
We'll walk right over here, okay?
The Bronx raid comes on the heels of another bust in Brooklyn earlier this month. Authorities not only weeded out one of the city's largest unlicensed pot distributors, but confiscated a printing press used to manufacture illegal labels there.
Just bags and bags of flour.
Both locations were shut down as part of a new citywide campaign called Operation Padlock to Protect, which gives law enforcement the green light to padlock illegal cannabis shops, thanks to new legal authority granted by the state. Another live look at the bodega this morning. The owner wasn't here at the time of the raid, but we're told those two arrests were employees who worked behind the counter at the time the store was raided. Investigators, of course, now have to look into exactly where all of these products may have come from in the first place, as in there was likely a supplier who provided them to this family deli.
In Briarwood, Queens, the rapper Chinks was killed in a drive-by shooting in 2015. The suspect in that case has just pleaded guilty.
Well, now to a Fox 5 exclusive. New information following the 2015 murder of rapper Chinks.
The shooter in the murder just pled guilty to first-degree manslaughter.
All right, and only our Lisa Evers has the interview with Chinks' widow reacting to this news. Lisa.
Well, Steve and Natasha, it is a major milestone some thought would never be reached. A successful prosecution of the prime suspect in the murder of rising rap star Chinks. That day has come, and his brave widow tells me in this exclusive interview she can now finally heal from her loss. In this exclusive video, you see Quincy Homer taken into custody by NYPD's Queens South Homicide Squad on December 14th, 2017. Homer and alleged accomplice Jamar Hill were charged with second-degree murder, attempted murder, and other charges in the 2015 murder of rising rap star Lionel Chinks Pickens Jr. Detectives say Homer was the shooter who pumped bullets into Chinks' Porsche, killing him. Seeing her husband's killer in court on Monday, making a guilty plea to manslaughter, was intense for his wife and mother of their 3 children, Janelle Caceres Pickens.
It was pretty emotional. I literally cried the whole time sitting there, actually just staring at him. Just, so many different thoughts and words are running through your head, and you have to keep your composure.
Chinks' music career was on the rise when he was murdered. He was signed to French Montana's Coke Boy Records, had a hit song on Hot 97, and was doing shows. Though he traveled for work, he was a family man. He was doing so well they were looking at houses to buy for their family. It's been tough for Janelle, realizing one man with a gun and an old grudge took it all away.
A lot of sadness, a lot of hurt, a lot of anger. The DA sat with me most of the time until it was time for him to, represent, as I was there by myself. So it was a lot.
Over the last 9 years since she lost the love of her life, Janelle started a catering business, went to school, started a new career in healthcare, and raised their children. Plus, she kept Chinks' legacy alive and pushed for justice.
We do all believe that it should have definitely been at least a murder-suit charge.
Quincy Homer took a guilty plea to first-degree manslaughter and is looking at 23 years behind bars. He's already doing time on a federal armed robbery conviction. In a statement, Queens DA Melinda Katz says, "My office never gives up in our pursuit of justice. Lionel Pickens, an accomplished recording artist, was senselessly gunned down by Quincy Homer. We hope that this sentence will provide the Pickens family with some measure of comfort as they continue to mourn his loss." Janelle is grateful for the work done by police and prosecutors.
It's closure for us to now know that there's no more court appearances after this. There's, someone is being held accountable for what has happened. So it's a start.
Janelle says she's now on the road to healing and plans to be at the sentencing for Homer on August 12th. The case against co-defendant Jamar Hill is pending. He's also behind bars on other unrelated charges.
Back in the Bronx, we go to Mott Haven, where an NYPD officer shot a man holding a large machete.
A police-involved shooting in the Bronx leaves a man wounded. It happened last night around 10:15. Officers responding to a call of a dispute inside a residence in the Mott section. Now, upon arriving, they encountered a 24-year-old man apparently holding a machete. Police say they ordered him to drop it, but he refused and lunged at them. So those officers opened fire, striking that man in the left arm. That individual is in stable condition this morning.
Up in the Longwood section of the Bronx, a 13-year-old boy was shot in the leg. Police say 2 suspects are being sought who are possibly teens. It happened at 10:21 p.m. between Westchester Avenue and Simpson Street. The 13-year-old told police he was walking and saw 4 people on city bikes arguing and then heard shots. He was taken to a local hospital in stable condition. Over in the Clawson Point section of the Bronx, 2 people were arrested after nearly 25 pounds of narcotics with Playboy bunny labels and a gun were seized in an apartment.
Well, the NYPD says nearly 25 pounds of narcotics are off the streets in the Bronx after an undercover drug bust. It happened Friday in the Parkchester neighborhood. Officials say task force officers set up a drug deal with Carlos Torres and Martin Figueroa, ending in the arrest of both men on drug charges. Officers then searched an apartment, finding drugs packaged with Playboy and Tesla stamps. The NYPD says the narcotics are believed to be heroin, fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, and oxycodone pills.
Police are looking for a pair of thieves they say are targeting patrons and restaurants throughout Manhattan and Brooklyn. They say the suspects have stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of designer watches and jewelry from customers across the city.
He's targeting people wearing expensive watches here in the city. Police say there have been at least 6 different robberies in Manhattan and Brooklyn going back to March. In each case, the victims were approached by a number of individuals with guns as they walked along the sidewalk. Many of those watches worth between $30,000 and $100,000. The thieves also took off with iPhones and cash. Anyone with any info is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
And finally, body scanners, which are meant to detect weapons, will soon be coming to the New York City subway system. Mayor Eric Adams says they conducted thousands of tests and are now ready to move forward.
Well, body scanners will soon be coming to the subway system.
All right, this after the mayor says they conducted thousands of tests and are now ready to move forward.
Fox 5's Morgan McKay takes a closer look at when we could start seeing them.
His phone is on the left, the gun is on the right.
These body scanners that are meant to detect weapons could be installed at select subway turnstiles as soon as later this week or next week.
They did thousands of tests, thousands, to gauge the success of it. We're extremely impressed with the outcome.
Mayor Eric Adams' administration submitted an impact report in March, which kicked off a 90-day waiting period. And now they are ready to launch a pilot program by installing these body scanners at certain subway stations. They won't confirm which stations just yet, but say they will give people the heads up.
We're not going to wake up one day and see Evolve at the turnstile. We're going to lay out exactly what methodologies we're going to use.
This comes as city officials say that subway crime has dropped 7.8% year to date. Officials say this is due in part to an infusion of extra cops they flooded into the subway system. And MTA officials added that they are also halfway to their goal of installing cameras on every subway train by the end of this year. However, the subway system recently has still been struggling with signal and power outages. MTA Chair Jano Lieber says a power outage in Lower Manhattan Tuesday night was not due to the heat. Rather,
this is because the infrastructure is so damn old.
Lieber was a major proponent of congestion pricing, which would have generated about $15 billion so the MTA could make much needed improvements. However, Hochul blocked it from being implemented at the 11th hour, leaving a major deficit in the MTA's budget.
The focus needs to be on fixing the aging infrastructure. That means Governor Kathy Hochul must flip the switch and start congestion pricing.
The NYPD says that another deterrent to crime on the subway has been the National Guard assisting police with random bag searches. Hochul's office says that so far the National Guard has been conducting around 110 subway support missions per day.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.